We begin in 1940, in the middle of World War II, when a fascist-backed operation is set in motion to cripple Britain's economy by flooding the country with £350 million in counterfeit money, smuggled in while the nation still resists fascism. And behind it all is a powerful political figure who authorizes the plan, John Beckett. Back in Birmingham, the chaos is impossible to ignore. Sirens echo through the streets, explosions shake the city, until suddenly a massive blast tears through the local weapons factory. So the next morning, we finally see Tommy Shelby again, but he's a shadow of the man he used to be. Living in isolation, far from everything, his only companion is the loyal Johnny Dogs. Johnny fills him in. The city is falling apart, people are desperate, and things have gotten so bad that some are even trespassing onto Tommy's land. Then, he also explains that whenever someone asks about him, he tells them Tommy has left the criminal world behind and is now writing a book, one that mixes his memories with the visions that still haunt him. Because Tommy hasn't stopped seeing spirits, especially Ruby, and after 2 years since Arthur's passing, his condition has only worsened. Not long after, Ada Shelby arrives with terrible news. Every worker who was in the factory that night lost their life and the rest are demanding answers. But Tommy refuses to face it. He tells her he's still fighting his own war, one where he can't even speak to his children anymore, convinced he was never a good father. So Ada tells him that Charles is at the front lines, and Duke has taken control of the Peaky Blinders, becoming even more ruthless than Tommy and Arthur ever were. That's why she begs him to step in. But Tommy is too broken to respond. We then shift to the present-day Peaky Blinders, now led by Duke. Taking full advantage of the chaos and backed by a deal with the police, he orchestrates a brutal crackdown and seizes all the weapons from the factory without resistance. Afterward, he returns to the Garrison pub where John Beckett is waiting. So Beckett lays out his plan: flood the country with counterfeit money. And if the Peaky Blinders help, they'll earn a massive cut. That's when Duke doesn't hesitate and he accepts immediately. But Beckett seems unsure, saying he would have preferred to deal with Tommy. However, Duke makes one thing clear: he has no limits and no morals. That's enough to seal the deal. Meanwhile, Tommy realizes someone has broken into his home, and when he confronts the intruder, he discovers it's Kaulo, the twin sister of Zelda, the gypsy woman from his past and the mother of his son Duke. Kaulo, now queen of the Palmer gypsies, tells him she sees her sister in dreams and brings a warning. Duke has aligned himself with powerful men who could bring destruction to the gypsy people. That's why they need Tommy's help. But he insists he's no longer that man. At the same time, Ada confronts Duke about the factory incident, but he couldn't care less. He even claims he's willing to do what his father never did. However, Ada fires back: he can have everything, except a family. Back with Tommy, he's still drowning in guilt, haunted by everyone he's lost. Then Kaulo returns, and this time she says Zelda wants to speak through her, revealing things only she could know. So she urges Tommy to help save his son, and he refuses again. But Kaulo, well, Zelda doesn't give up, and she tells him she can help him wake up again, suggesting an intimate encounter. While all this unfolds, Ada begins working on a plan to stop Duke. Meanwhile, Duke meets with Beckett and a high-ranking fascist official, only to realize it's all a test. Beckett claims the man can't be trusted, and orders Duke to deal with him. So, without hesitation, Duke follows through, proving just how far he's willing to go. Back with Tommy, after his encounter with Kaulo, she tells him she knows the truth about Arthur's final moments. Apparently, he had taken too much opium and was carrying a gun. So when Tommy came to find him, Arthur, lost in his state, mistook him for the devil. A struggle broke out, and in the chaos, everything went wrong. That memory haunts Tommy endlessly, along with all the loss he carries. But Kaulo reminds him of something important. He can't save those who are gone, but he can still protect his son from the same fate. And that changes something. For the first time in a long while, something inside Tommy wakes up. He dresses like his old self again and heads back to town to face Duke, who, at that moment, is meeting with Beckett and is given a new order: to eliminate his Aunt Ada, who is gathering evidence against Duke and could ruin everything. So Duke follows her, and when the moment comes, he raises the gun, but he can't do it. Then he tries again, until suddenly Beckett's car appears. Duke tries to warn Ada, but it's too late. Beckett opens fire without hesitation, takes the evidence, and leaves, while Duke and Ada's son are left completely devastated. Meanwhile, on his way back, Tommy has a vision of Ada and understands everything. So he rides straight to the garrison looking for Duke, but only finds a crowd drinking, laughing, and mocking him. However, some recognize who he is and warn the others to back off, but one man keeps pushing. Then Tommy plants an explosive on him and makes an example of him. At that moment, they finally tell him where Duke is, and father and son come face to face. So Tommy immediately lashes out, attacking him. But Duke fights back, insisting he wasn't the one behind Ada's fate. Instead, it was the man he partnered with, who was planning something even bigger than anything Tommy has ever done. After that, Tommy heads to the morgue to say goodbye to his sister, convinced that Man will show up there to finish what he started. There, Tommy finally breaks down. He confesses to Ada and reveals the truth. Arthur's end wasn't an accident. They had turned on each other, Arthur completely consumed by substances. And in that moment, Tommy realized there was no way back, so he made a choice. He decided to end it. Then, just as he predicted, Beckett arrives, and a brutal shootout erupts. Beckett manages to escape, but something has shifted. For the first time in years, Tommy rides through the city again, moving through the streets as people watch him with respect. Meanwhile, Duke is shaken by everything that's happened. That's when Kaulo appears and tells him it's all been decided. Father and son will now work together, but when it's over, Duke will have to be the one to end Tommy's story. She hands him a bullet with Tommy's name on it, because deep down, that's the peace Tommy has been searching for. So, the two reunite at the garrison, united by one goal: avenge Ada and bring down the man responsible. But first, they hold a heartfelt farewell in her honor. Then the plan begins. Duke contacts Beckett to move forward with the deal, while Tommy prepares his own strategy: identify the man behind everything and sabotage the operation. To do that, they'll break into the docks warehouse where the counterfeit money is stored and destroy it. But they need a distraction and access through underground tunnels. So, Tommy turns to Kaulo's people to help open the reinforced gates. And while they work, Tommy asks Kaulo to read his hand. But she tells him that tonight he'll finally find peace, and Tommy already knows what that means. He admits he suspected from the moment she arrived that she was there to end his story, just like Polly once warned him. So, Kaulo makes it clear, one of them won't make it through the night. Either Tommy brings Duke down, or Duke will be the one to bring Tommy's story to an end. At the same time, Duke meets with Beckett, seemingly betraying his father by revealing their plan, and both sides take their positions. Tommy moves through the tunnels, Johnny and the others approach by boat, and Beckett and Duke wait for the perfect moment to spring the trap. And then, everything explodes. A massive blast shakes the warehouse. Beckett realizes he's been set up, and some original and new Peaky Blinders storm in, sparking a fierce shootout. In the middle of the chaos, Tommy reaches the stash of counterfeit money and plants an explosive, setting the entire operation ablaze. So, seeing everything collapse, Beckett jumps into his car and drives straight at Tommy, firing as he closes in. But Tommy doesn't move. He stands his ground and fires back, bringing Beckett down. Then he simply waits, ready to be hit, ready for it all to end. But at the last second, Duke saves him. Still, Tommy is badly wounded. He looks at his son and asks him to end his suffering by using the bullet Kaulo gave him. But Duke refuses. For the first time, he feels like he truly has a father. However, Tommy insists. And in front of everyone, Duke pulls the trigger. And just like that, the story of the great Tommy Shelby comes to an end. In the final moments, a farewell ceremony is held in his honor. His body is laid to rest along with everything he owned, marking the end of an era. And from those ashes, Duke rises, now the new king of the gypsies. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more recaps and comment below what story you want me to cover next. See you in the next video.